So this is the LabelExpo Asia exhibition, which is currently taking place in Shanghai, China. And when you enter, the very first booth is the Haotian company. It's already evening, of course. Everything is closing down here, so there's at least a chance to come up and take a look at the machines. Here are some samples, apparently meant to be discarded. This one is not for discard. If you look closely, some of them are written and made in Cyrillic. But here, far from all of them are. No need, here you go. Here's an exhibition for Russians for now. Here's a little machine, apparently for focus on printing, embellishment, media, a flexo section for applying, as I understand it, primer or corona treatment, a printing section 1010 by 1000, now with new print heads, and that's it, the final result. Of course, during the day it was crowded here, hard to get close. Naturally, I'll walk through the exhibition, visiting the booths one by one. I'll have to move through all this pretty quickly because there are a lot of machines at the exhibition, both analog and digital, all sorts of different ones. So, of course, it's simply impossible to see and check out everything here. There are a huge number of suppliers, labels. I'll walk through the exhibition, going from booth to booth. I'll have to move quickly because there are so many machines, analog, digital, all kinds. It's impossible to see everything here. There are many suppliers for labels, papers, and foils. They're luxury. Since this topic isn't my strong suit, though it is interesting, I'll try to get more familiar with it. I'll be stopping only at the booths of companies with equipment, especially those with digital machines like inkjet or toner. Thankfully, it's now possible to walk calmly between booths and see the exhibits. It was packed near the digital equipment companies. Inkjet or toner, it didn't matter. I'll tell you, it was on fire. The number of visitors was huge, even if some say the exhibition isn't what it used to be. But for me, it's a bit difficult to compare all this, so I can say for sure that maybe in terms of the number of exhibitors, this exhibition isn't what it used to be, but in terms of the number of visitors, it's just right. You know, even if someone can stand on the machine, it means it's built with a good margin of strength. Probably not a digital one. Well, that's a joke, of course, nothing more. But here they'll definitely test it, otherwise all sorts of scammers will slip away. Then the various local suppliers and distributors take all of this down for processing. Of course, there is no shortage of materials in this region, and there will certainly be plenty more available for the project. Then I film all of this. There you go. Here are the suppliers. There's absolutely everything here, of course. Materials, paper, everything you can imagine, we have it all. So I'm moving through, trying to go as quickly as possible, but at the same time show you everything because, well, I don't know how much longer I'll be allowed in here naturally. In theory, I'd like to go through all 4 pavilions, of course. It's not exactly not that much, not that little, but still it would give you a complete picture of what the LabelExpo exhibition is like. Not in Europe, not in America, but in Asia, in this case in China, so you could understand what it is, what it represents. Well, as for the number of people, again, you won't really get a sense of that here because it's already 5 o'clock and the exhibition is coming to an end, the work. It runs until 5:30 p.m. today, and the number of exhibitors is off the charts. As for visitors, during the day there were so many people here that it was simply impossible to just stand still. You were literally swept away. It was impossible to get close to some of the machines because people were crowding around them in unbelievable numbers. So, of course, the exhibition is fantastic. Probably those who are exhibiting are getting tired because there really are a huge number of visitors. Jeweler. Again, we managed, but probably for those who are exhibiting because there really are a huge number of visitors. Jeweler, again. It's not the equipment we're interested in. The materials there aren't for us either. We can just walk past. So here is the Polisi company booth. If you pay attention, it's actually quite large. But since we're now passing by the back part of it, we'll go through the central part a bit later, and I'll briefly show what was at the company's booth. Basically, they do have some machines, but here, to make everything convenient, sometimes the manufacturers don't even bother to translate the hieroglyphic labels into English. So, for example, here at this company's booth, it's written as nation, and that's it. Well, as always, the sheer number of exhibitors and everything else here is just completely off the charts. Again, for each individual country and for each specific market, there are, let's say, their own unique sets of numbers. Here at this event, this is exactly how it is. We just walked by their booths and they were just about to cover up their displays for the day. Apparently, these are flexo machines, and now they're fully filled. By the way, these are BIC inks. Practically at every booth where there was a flexo machine, there was a label saying that they use BIC company inks. I didn't see any such signs on analog digital machines. On digital machines, there weren't any, but on analog ones, there definitely were. Quite a lot, actually. Hybrid software. Of course, we definitely need to go over to them and have a chat. This is a real monster. Oh, that's all that. You need to take your hybrid software, go to the book, approach and talk. It's a real monster. And this is everything that's not Pine Floyd in the end. With this consortium, you have some kind of relationship. This is the manufacturer. People's worries about machines vary. Minor oversights happen, and that's fine. The issue is human attitude, not the hardware. If I can't film the Krone machine in a single take, if I can't film all the flaws in one day, then of course, I'll probably just shoot the reviews over several days. We'll see how it turns out. Well, since there are no digital solutions here, I'll just show you. Guys, let's take a look at everything together right now. We are currently located in the regional section at this specific booth representing the United Kingdom for Zonter. This company serves as a comprehensive source for all types of materials and even operates as a primary manufacturer in the industry. Right here in front of us, we have a wide variety of impressive items to show you today. BST. They also, of course, supply or manufacture something. Actually, it's already 5 minutes to tint label. Well, obviously, they make these special effect materials, BST. They also, of course, supply or manufacture something. In fact, the asterisk here means it should have ended 5 minutes ago already. But what we see is that people have no intention of leaving Weigang. Here, printing presses, analog ones. This is the Avery the Nation booth on this side. Here, printing presses, so many machines. All of them are here. All of them are working. Right now, I'm actually filming a sign that says no filming. And here's some kind of machine number, by the way, but you see, photography is not allowed, so I won't go in because of that. Here's the stand at Police. Here it is. Here are the machines. They're demonstrating them. I like their signs. They've covered the whole printer with this sign, which is entirely in Chinese. So it's not clear what it says. Well, this is their printing machine with a resolution of 1200 by 1200 using Epson print heads. Here it turns out they have two printing machines set up. One of them, it seems, is based on water-based inks. Here's the continuation of the stand for VC. Here, it turns out they have two printing machines set up. One of them apparently uses water-based inks and prints with water on paper. Basically, whenever I approached, it was always running and printing. Naturally, it has a large print width. And here, of course, they have a machine for printing, the so-called hybrid. So right here in this section, you can see the various flexo stations that are positioned before the main stages, which handle tasks like high-quality printing, decorative foiling, and partial varnishing, essentially covering all the standard flexo processes you might expect. And of course, depending on your specific production needs, there can be more of these modules included in the line, or perhaps fewer, if the job is simpler. Additionally, if I'm not mistaken about the current configuration of this machine, there is also a highly advanced rewinder inspection system installed to ensure everything is perfect. Over 400 machines have been installed worldwide. For some reason, though, it's not called Policia, but brand. Well, maybe it's just called brand. Policia is, for example, the name of the brand, and this is the system. Installed all over the world, but for some reason, it's not called Police, and, well, maybe Police is, for example, the brand name, and this is the manufacturer's name. Maybe that's how it is. The water-based machine is good, beautiful, prints great, everything comes out nice and even. But for now, it can only boast good results on paper. Other materials used in packaging are still out of reach for them. Here's another material manufacturer, apparently, or maybe a supplier. Yet another supplier manufacturer of printing materials. And if you look, there are more booths from material manufacturers and suppliers than there are from the guys who deal with equipment. It's immediately clear who makes more money on labels. Here you go. Here are some machines separately. I'm not even sure what this is. Oh, right. And cutting, I'm afraid I might be wrong. So, guys, as you can see right here, we have these cutters. Naturally, the label equipment shows who earns more. Here are the cutters and machines. Some gold, some silver, and some foil. So please give me two of each of those, as they often say. Oh, so this is for cutting, a machine for scoring, slitting into strips. Small stands, two each of gold, silver, foil. LKM machines for scoring and slitting strips. Material supplier or maker. Yes, it is absolutely true that Wangang takes up a massive, almost overwhelming amount of physical space. So, as you can imagine, it is naturally quite difficult to navigate the area without constantly bumping into all the other guys working there. But even for someone like me just trying to run through the space quickly, and I am not even talking about the entire floor or the whole hall, which, if you will excuse me for a moment right here, it still feels like a major challenge to get from one side to the other without any interruptions. It really is a much larger area than it looks at first glance. There are quite a lot of them here. If we're being absolutely precise about it, there are exactly 4. Maybe only one single hall isn't completely full just yet. I would say it's about 80 or perhaps 85% occupied right now. But all of the others are absolutely and completely packed to capacity. Everyone here seems very friendly, welcoming, and so on. Again, apparently, from what I can see, there is a distribution of various handout materials going on. Then again, I could be slightly mistaken about that detail. Yes, of course, today you definitely have plenty of work to do, and it is currently in full swing. Robots and advanced robotic manipulators, you simply can't do without them these days. Yes, that's right. Regarding the various materials and other things here, hello there. Hello. Yes, those poor girls. They are constantly throughout the entire duration of the whole exhibition approaching all the passers-by, politely offering their promotional materials to everyone. Materials, services, and absolutely everything else you can imagine. Naturally, even here in this place, when they see filming going on, they simply can't just walk by without saying something to us. Well, to be fair, some of them are already feeling very tired. That happens quite often too. It is a curing system, apparently. Well, maybe it is something else entirely. Corona, Euster, system. Right here. Please pay close attention when we finally get to the system. The point is called honest sign. There you go. Of course, you can't just walk by without noticing. Sold to France. Well, that's right. The honest sign is relevant there too. Yes. Well, apparently, if this symbol is here, it's probably some kind of marker. So we'll need to go in and take a closer look at this equipment, because when you walk by like this, you can't miss anything anymore. You'll see absolutely everything. So guys, here we have some more new materials. Prevasto. I just dropped by the corner for a moment, but honestly, even if you walk really actively and very quickly between all the different booths and everything else there, it still takes about 18 to 20 minutes just to run through everything once. You understand how it is yourselves. To actually take the time to look at something properly, it really requires much more than that. At that speed, it is simply impossible. So even just to run through everything, you need an hour and a half. And if you stop somewhere to take a look at something, that's another 2 to 3 hours. If there are more than 2 booths, then it's already 3 to 4 hours. Here is an inspection machine. It's sold. It says right here it is sold. Here is the company Gustev again. It is here on this side as well. We are currently looking at the King Abel company's impressive display, and right next to it, here is another one that might catch your eye. Do you recognize this brand? This is Little Machines, yet another prominent manufacturer here today, and they have brought about 5 or so of their latest models to the floor. They are currently exhibiting these units, proudly showing off their newest products to everyone passing by. It makes perfect sense for them to do this, as all the major manufacturers are gathered here to demonstrate their capabilities. Chemists and material manufacturers are present, at least in this pavilion, in huge numbers. Chemists and material manufacturers are present, at least in this pavilion, in huge numbers. So just to walk through one little section, one pavilion, it took 18 minutes. Just to walk through, I didn't even stop to look closely at many of the manufacturers. I was basically running, you could say. And that's only Pavilion E1, and there are still more of them. There are 3 like that in total. There are 4. So that's how it is. Let's keep going. Well, in the end, I didn't manage to film all the pavilions yesterday because it was really strict. At 5:30 p.m., the exhibition ended, and they just kicked everyone out, as they say. In fact, a huge number of people were just leaving. The lights were being turned off with megaphones and so on. Here's some manufacturer, HDSN. But again, we can see that there are a lot of companies here that aren't directly related to mechanical engineering. That is, here it's about supply, production, and material consumption. HDSN has inflation machines and rewinders. Many companies here aren't just mechanical engineering. They handle supply, production, and materials like ink. Supercook also has many factories producing anti-static products, which are very relevant. They produce something. These are anti-static products, judging by their appearance, which is, of course, a very relevant topic for printing a large number of materials. Here are the Supercolor guys, and here's the huge Angloball booth. I made a separate video about them, and I'll also record feedback from the company's representatives separately, as Misha Kubov personally promised me. I'll definitely go up to him so he can tell us what he's presenting here. Pushinov will give a separate interview. I'll definitely go up to him so he can explain what he's presenting here. Of course, I walked around myself and shared what I learned about the equipment, but as you understand, that might not be enough to give the full picture of the equipment showcased at the exhibition. So here we have Vopa, some company. Well, apparently, this is the industrial die cutting process, which essentially refers to the actual punching procedure. We'll get a bit closer now to take a better look and see exactly what they're offering in this specific regard. Right here are the heavy-duty rollers themselves. It's hard to say for sure, but the guys seem to be offering some other very specific specialized devices. This piece of equipment is already a full-scale printing machine, apparently an older analog model, as it is quite unlikely to be a modern inkjet system. So let's see what else is here. We are seeing the exact same situation with the manufacturers here. For instance, take a look at one of these pavilions, which we might call E2. And you can see that E3 is currently in a very similar state. If you take a closer look at the layout, it is quite easy to see that it's not completely filled up when compared to the E1 section. Now, if I am not mistaken, E4 doesn't seem to have any empty spots at all. In fact, it looks to be fully occupied by exhibitors. But then again, we must remember that this is not a machine manufacturer, but rather a manufacturer of various consumables. Again, it's a Chinese company. Here we have yet another manufacturer, and once again, these are not printing presses, so it's not particularly interesting. Let's move on. Again, WAPA, and once more you can see that these are all 100% analog machines that haven't gone anywhere. In other words, they're still giving the digital printing guys a run for their money, so no one has any intention of giving up just like that, not at all. That's why they're trying, as you can see, to produce both wide and narrow format machines. Right across from them is the Hang Global stand. Honestly, I don't really know what this company does. As for Hang Global, here they are. They have a huge hybrid machine on display. There's also a separate flexographic machine, pure flexography. The company Labels, which as I understand it is now simply part of the Hanglory group of companies. At least that's how I understood it. Now, my colleagues might correct me on this. Automation field, again, apparently a manufacturer involved in a bunch of these machines. Rotometrics. Then there's Supercolor. There's a huge variety of everything here. Different types of equipment and manufacturers. Well, maybe I'll even be able to get through this one a bit faster because it's a little smaller than the previous pavilions. We'll move through this one a bit faster since it's smaller than the previous pavilions. Jason didn't swear, by the way. These are manufacturers or suppliers of machines. This one is Gonda Laser. I did a separate review on them. Definitely check that out later. So it actually turns out that there are many different specialized machines for a variety of specific tasks. If you want this, here you go. If you want that, here you go. So the main idea there is that these are machines for digital cutting using lasers. Of course, there are certain nuances when it comes to specific materials, but nevertheless, this is one of the possible applications. These digital lasers cut various materials for many tasks. It has, like everything else, its own advantages and disadvantages. But for now, the main question is probably about speed. So that, for example, just as a digital printer can print quickly, it could also deliver the same level of productivity in cutting. Here again, we have manufacturers of various materials, and here we have yet another manufacturer. It's hard to say. At first glance, it looks like paper, but it's not paper. It's clearly some kind of... This material appears to be some kind of specialized chemical, apparently. Looking around, we see even more material manufacturers and yet even more material manufacturers. No matter how you look at it, the level of competition here is incredibly fierce, so to speak. Absolutely no one is resting on their laurels in this industry. Instead, every single person is striving to compete fairly and to develop this growing market much further than before. All right, here we go. These are the finished labels, all ready to be used. Here they are, neatly wound up in a roll. Right here we have the precise die cutting process in action, and it just goes on and on. It really is quite beautiful to watch. Now we are at a booth with a very hard to pronounce name, Hencheng Xiyang. Apparently they are manufacturers of some kind of industrial machines. It is honestly quite difficult to tell exactly what they specialize in, exactly what kind. But it doesn't seem to be printing equipment as far as I can tell. It appears that this is intended for use by material manufacturers, so you can already utilize and process certain die cuts, which is apparently the material for this. Exactly what, we'll get closer and maybe figure it out, but this isn't printing equipment. It looks like it's for material manufacturers, so you can already work with certain die cuts. Apparently material for sealing some products. Yeah, that's it. Everything here is already die cut. Partially both. Fengsheng machinery, flexographic printing presses. Analog printing hasn't gone anywhere. You see, they're present everywhere. Kaishenk. Some of the names are even hard to pronounce. There's even a sign for me, no photography, but I didn't take any photos. I'm filming video. So some photos. Here's a traditional printing press. It's basically the same thing here. So these are analog machines, not even close. Here are the printing presses. Well, everything seems to be analog. All the machines are analog. It's the same thing here, same here. So these are analog machines. So guys, I'm showing you, hello. Yeah, apparently it's all analog. And here, I think a machine stretching off into the distance. It's there. The only thing is this hall is just a little bit smaller than a machine stretching off into the distance. It's just that, well, analog hasn't gone anywhere. It's still here. So it turns out this hall is a bit smaller than it used to be, but still there's plenty to see and to show. Washing machines and so on. Over here, there will be... I'm afraid to make a mistake about their exact purpose, because we have to understand that this is the label market. I'm afraid to make a mistake about their exact purpose, because we have to understand that the label market doesn't end with just printing machines. Yes, it's everything that comes before and after, like the production of materials, adhesives, and so on, as well as everything else. Again, not everything here is graphic machines. In fact, the exhibition has literally just barely started, so if you think there are already quite a lot of people here, that's not the case. It's just empty. In fact, you could say there are basically no people here at all, because what happens here around 12 o'clock or 1 p.m. local time is that you simply can't get close to the machines. That's why I like to show all this either before the exhibition even starts or after. Fontech. Yes, so it turns out they have apparently a hybrid machine. It's a flexographic one. I see it definitely has a module installed. And apparently this is a printing module as such. And after printing, of course, there's drying. Well, yes, but I can't really call it a UV roll-to-roll. It looks like it's a bit more than 330. I might be wrong. Yes, it seems like there are modules installed here specifically for finishing. And so this is a flexographic machine. Huge, massive. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, probably no less than 10 in this regard. Here it prints. And that one, it turns out, is actually a finishing machine. Oh, and here's Zhenya, by the way, already handing out the finished product. And it's not a label, but actual packaging. And this, it turns out, is already printed and being finished. This massive 10-station setup prints and finishes real packaging, and the final result looks great. All right, let's move on and see what else is here, of course. I mean, yes, everything looks beautiful, especially when the final product comes out. That's just amazing. Yeah, so this is part of the tabloids. He's removing the films to prepare the material for printing, so to speak. Company, inspection is underway. I don't understand what's going on. Rotary technology, some kind of company, printing. It feels like there's still an inspection going on here. I really don't understand what else this could be. Although, no, this is a full printing machine. It's just a part of it. Let's keep going. We're printing different colors. Whoa, whoa. And so at the end, we get the print. Thank you. Naturally, they might walk by and offer me either a brochure or their business card. And of course, with such intense competition, you obviously have to look for options. What else can you do, even if it's not entirely fair, to attract attention to yourself? That is, there really are still fully analog companies, those who just produce analog machines. They exist despite digitalization. For now, let's say, things aren't moving at such a pace as to wipe out all manufacturers of flexographic and offset equipment, and in general, all fully analog companies, those who specifically produce equipment. So yes, for now, it's turning out to be somewhat unfair. We have a certain kind of balance happening here, Immovision. It feels like there's just an infection spreading here. Here, some kind of machine manufacturer, but I don't yet understand what kind exactly. For some specific tasks, label King Technology. Well, King, honestly, this is already the second company I've seen with that name offering such technology. So, well, as you can see, this isn't exactly a booth with finished products on display. It's actually just a small, convenient mini market intended for those visitors who might already be feeling hungry and want something to eat right now. However, since it is still quite early in the morning, there is absolutely no one here yet who would be walking around the area and attacking these little shops for snacks. There's nothing like that yet. Here again is Big One Machinery. They're doing something here, but I don't really understand what yet. They're probably unwinding part of the large roll. So they get film and then they make small rolls out of it, splitting it into strips and cutting it into different sizes. Well, yes, this is also present in this market. These are material sellers. These two, they might even be manufacturers. Anio Jetfly. Over here, there are some skilled guys making specialized tools. Some are very well. These are specifically for testing, checking for overall strength, long-term durability, and so on. Well, what's interesting is that in this pavilion, there are practically no companies representing digital printing solutions. Literally, and it feels like there are just a few of them. Fun Label, Fun Global, Fun Glory Group, you could say, and so on. And that's basically it. All the other guys here are analog guys who are involved in analog enterprises, businesses, and so on. So this is a separate topic in itself. Yeah, contact. Well, we've already been here. If you pay attention everywhere, well, not everywhere, but everywhere there are analog machines, you see them. Demo intelligent technology. Apparently, this is a mechanical cutter. It looks like that's the case. There are quite a few such solutions at the exhibition, I see. They cut with knives and you get a finished product at the output. It's not super productive, but let's say probably you can just compensate by having a certain number of them. The company decided, since they have no neighbors, to simply occupy a larger area. Well, probably they were told to set up however they wanted. Honley Company, a well-known manufacturer of lamps and now also LED lamps, among others. That is, methods of curing using ultraviolet light. Well, probably not only that. That works too. Here they are. So this whole pavilion is E2. Next is E3. All right, so this is Pavilion E3 at the LabelExpo Asia 2025, which is taking place in Shanghai. Here, Fengming, some manufacturers, honestly speaking, I don't know what they make yet. There's just this metallic noise. It feels like something metal is being prepared over there, like someone is getting ready, not like these hinges at the exhibition. Well, and here it looks like, yes, growth by streams and roll production. Here, these are the machines. They have their place here too. Nothing surprising about that. Everyone should be here. Oh, humidifiers. Also, a very important thing in any production facility, especially when it comes to materials like paper, cardboard, and so on. Sorry. So here we have some kind of machine manufacturer. There's a sign in Chinese here, probably something like "do not touch." Well, okay then. Here, a guy is walking around, handing out forms, kind of under the radar. Hop, hop, hop. He handed out some kind of notices or something over there, of course. He moved on. High top. Also, basically, it's all about slitting along the streams with some kind of cutting and so on. These machines aren't small. Both UV and smart driver. High top. Yaxing. Import, export. Mining foil. This is Joe's Blue Label. Well, as you can see, these are actually the primary manufacturers of various high-quality materials used specifically for professional label printing. So what else do we have here that's interesting? So these guys too. Oh, well, here. Devices, magnifying glasses, and everything else. Here is a huge booth, and there's a presentation here. UPM, well, that makes sense. A very funny company. Look, metal grows moisture with film not only of world-class quality, here from Britain. By the way, the flag, guys. Tit, Joe. Something in Singan? Voxing silk. It's either the manufacturers or something else. Flex typewriters, here. Some brand. Spande. Oh, what huge cars. Still pretty. Here she is, the beauty. My goodness. Well, that's quite a module. It feels like they're either printing variable data in the digital module, or I'm even afraid to guess what those huge cranes are for. All right, I'll approach them from the other side and see what they're all about. Here, Hongchen Tech, again, apparently a fully digital machine. Hey, sorry, excuse me, it's an analog machine. Yeah, well, it says here that they have, at least the ink is digital. I still don't really understand where. Hosheng Machinery Technology, Guangzhou. Guys, did you think Guangzhou? Again, big ink. Big. Oof, you can really smell the ozone here. My goodness. It's really powerful, that's for sure. Right? It's printing something. Well, the Chinese are pretty laid back about this. They take a very simple approach to their printing machines and their booths. I mean, if something isn't working well, they don't worry about it at all. If something's lying around unevenly somewhere, I don't worry about it either. Here you go, flexible packaging. That's not printing, that's post-print processing. We provide the machines. Here you go, we've already passed by them. Here you go, here's one device, some huge one. It's so long, I don't even know what to compare it to. And then there's a second one with this interesting module. I'll go take a look. I'll see what kind of module this is. It's quite interesting if, of course, there's something written on it. Jeep. Well, okay, then I guess this is actually printing of some variable data. So here you go. A Flexo machine is installed separately on a module. Huge, as I just said, in terms of size. And you have the option, well, probably to print in full color or maybe just black and white variable data. Just to show that like we can do it this way and that way too. So this is what we have on this side. Again, the UPM booth is on this side and the Konica Minolta company booth is showing since 1913 or even 1882. When there was something, and then 2021, 2023, 2024. And that's it. And after that, that's all. The story ends there. There are no more details. And it's unclear what happened after that, so to speak. Wenzhong Machine Technologies. RTZ, in case anyone doesn't know, that's Flora. For us. Here we have the IFA company booth. We should go visit them. It seems like they're even waiting to present their booth and the equipment they're showing here. So here we have a machine. Without a description, it's hard to immediately figure out what it might be. Now it's clear. These are cutters. Well, everything looks quite industrial, of course. It feels like it's even harder to understand what this is. Maybe it's a girl or something. By the way, Eka, their solution is showcased for this industry as well. China Dongguan. So yes, and here, some kind of grains or something here. The little machine is printing non-stop. It's, what can I say? What is this? This appears to be a specific type of WADA equipment from the Fuaya Machinery Company, and Label King, which is yet another well-known manufacturer, specializing in various industrial products. Well, there should be something here. Well, once again, as we can clearly see right here, this is the DJ KeyJam, which is quite simply a high-quality standalone analog printing machine designed specifically and exclusively for all your professional printing needs. Apparently, this is something related to flexible packaging or maybe even labels. HSH film. Again, combined with this, these are materials. These are, in all likelihood, also materials for flexible packaging, for labels. Not all sleep yet. The same equipment is very large XNT. This is not all about sleep material. All of this is all The dedicated miner, working through the month of May. We also see a tablet of some kind, which is why the stand is still incomplete until the end of the hall. There is still space that could be filled with exhibitors, but apparently as if... So, the exhibition is quite extensive and large. They decided not to fill it. I know these leveling systems, I know for sure that this company manufactures them. RE is an Italian company specializing in web alignment. But surely they have something else besides that. These are naturally Chinese suppliers or manufacturers of materials. Label King, we've already passed by. This is, let's say, equipment for special effects. They produce it in various formats, but this is a more interesting thing for us. Actually, this is the company GP or GIP, General Inkjet Printing, which presents, here you go, ink units, and here electronic boards, which they, again, claim to make themselves. I don't know how that's possible. It's hard to trust everything completely. Here they are, putting everything out on display for everyone to see. I don't know for what purpose. If you don't want to sell, why put it on display? But still. So they have machines, samples here. I spent a lot of time here yesterday. This is actually a screen. Now someone will come out and show us the inside of the device. They'll show it here, of course. No, they won't show it. That's where it's located over there. The even-numbered half-heads are arranged in a semicircle in this setup. So that no one can see. Once everyone climbs in, that's it. Here's the white color for you, here's the red, and all the others. Everything is arranged in a semicircle. Everything is nicely done. These are the dealers they already have, and sales to other countries have already been made. In addition to those options, we also proudly offer the high-quality Label King brand for your needs. Various machines, printing ones, apparently without a digital module. I could be wrong. There's something else further on. It seems that's not it. And here, of course, there's more. These are no longer printing machines. Here's Broadtech equipment, which we also have. It's also supplied to us in Russia. Analog printing equipment and other things. Now we'll come closer and film the Jeep separately. I'll come over again. Andre, don't go anywhere right now. Here we have a module that's already a bit smaller in size. If you look, it's almost a hybrid actually. This device here is a bit smaller. Here it's 600 by 600. Here, just in case, they even put a label in Russian. That one is a dealer and so on. Standalone units. Here we can see something, of course. So on this side, we have post-press processing, meaning die cutting, and as far as I remember, this one here is mechanical. Here we have a printing press with inspection, and the inspection works simultaneously as it checks for defects and also checks the color. And here we have a fully analog printing system installed. Here is a UV inspection and control system, also from the company Broadtech. And over on that side, we have another machine, which was also made by Broadtech. Broadtech is probably the correct name. If I'm not mistaken, there are some die cutting operations here too, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's inspection. No. Finishing. We can see that some details are shiny. We're doing finishing here. Maybe it's UV or maybe not. Just look at how absolutely everything is completely hidden away, or from our view. That's why it's hard to say. But nevertheless, these labels are from the Flora Company booth. They also produce label equipment for the printing market, among other things. It turns out that right across from them is the Epson booth, which also makes equipment for this market. So they're set up right next to each other. We have this section here on the left side, this one. This is full color printing, and on this side we have foil printing. Well, I would say it's about enhancing the finishing in this regard. Samples and everything else, I hope they'll give me a presentation. Here we see a machine from the Flora company. As for these little things here, I know what they are, but that means I don't know. These weren't here before, but today they've appeared. This is the kind of printing that's happening here if you take a look. And just like that, it's printed. Well, this technology, if you consider it, has actually been around for a very long time. It doesn't offer high productivity, but this is what it can do. 5.1, damn, their print quality is always really impressive. That's why they're showcasing this machine. The company is Konica Minolta. The Acura label is on the other side of the toner machine. That's probably it. Acura label 400. And the machine is, of course, larger in size in this regard. And apparently they're printing on some kind of transparent material here. But I hope they'll give us a separate tour of it so we can take a look. The company leaves what it offers. Spande? We've already been through the psychic, right through him, in fact. Digital web. Digital. Ah, well, there's such a sharp digital one here. And to be honest, I don't see anything else. In general, silk snores. Something is not yet composed. I don't even see it. Shelk is not. Comrade, someone is coming, looking quite refined. There's a robot here. Better step aside, otherwise he'll bury you right here. Here too is Epson, but in a very small format. Epson is being offered an unofficial stand, so to speak. Here comes the ferret, again printing O. Let's say, for these ribbons, there's a real machine on the website. If someone's interested, they make them here too. Probably this doesn't really relate to packaging anymore. It is honestly quite hard to say about this specific one. It is a standard rotary machine, definitely a budget-friendly option. But it is still a functional machine nonetheless. By the way, it's actually crazy how much it looks like the Epson, practically a twin brother apparently. So if you want an alternative, this is probably a cheaper one. And here's BlueJet, a company. An interesting solution. I don't know. Well, that sound doesn't really draw attention. It just simply separates. Laminate film. Now, of course, they'll fix it and everything will be great. RFID tag. So here we have the company Subvan. Well, basically, that lottery, some kind of, you spin it a bit more and get a water pump, as they say. There are UV LED dryers. We have some materials, a waste cutting machine, a remover for excess material, sealing pepper. This someone refused, so they made a relaxation zone, Panda Ink Panda. We passed by, I think, the Unifull Station B, which is a very active and impressive little device, specifically designed for printing on decorative ribbons. Great in. And that was the impressive Epson exhibition stand, which clearly stated that the entire Epson company has already successfully turned its operations around, 50 years old. If anyone doesn't know, there was the Seiko company, which directly took. Hello again. Don't go far, I'll come over there in a moment. We still have a note. Yeah, I'm just recording right now. I'll walk through the whole thing now, of course. And where else do you have? I will head over to your location right now. So, regarding Oriental Paper, it has become apparent through my investigation that they actually cut off all the excess material and manufacture pre-perforated packaging. This specific item here is a label, my apologies. So the transition in the material change occurs exactly at this point. And it turns out that the process is also utilizing a semi-rotary system. All sorts of little machines, here you go. Here are more printing machines, more semi-rotary ones. Oh my goodness, they have absolutely everything here, don't they? An enormous number of solutions, really, just everywhere here. Another company booth, Jeep General Injured Printing. And of course, there are more printing machines standing around. Print Right, Sanjink, some company. So these are manufacturers, apparently. Ah, well, that's Jeep again, right? This is already from the other side. I almost didn't recognize them. As they say, I didn't recognize you in makeup. More classic, of course, printers, more classic UV ones, more classic cutting plotters with a water-based head. Well, yes, for small or ultra-small print runs, that's exactly what you need, actually. So, more cutting plotters again. That is quite a significant amount. What other items do we have here? Adhesives. Here we have, again, cutting plotters, single head, double head. Again, it's a matter of price. You can get, say, let's say two modules in 10 corners. Not everyone. Applicators. Why not? Here too, there are applicators. Yes, for certain tasks, but right now it's not really the thing. So tapes, ink supply system, judging by itself. Disassemblies. Yes, small ones, big ones, and so on. He'll make his own printer. Just kidding, of course, but these are materials for materials. So this is the last little walkthrough. And it's about time. Well, it looks like the exhibition is slowly starting to pick up steam. Right here, hey, some kind of, well, sister company. Oh, by the way, we've already looked at them. Apparently, these are semi-rotary machines, analog ones. So, yeah, I guess there's still the question of which there are more of analog machines or digital ones. Of course, we should count, but I have a feeling there are probably more analog ones here, after all. No matter how you look at it, in terms of the number of offerings, they're still ahead. If you look at the exhibition itself, they're leading. For now, they're beating digital, no matter how you spin it. Well, I can't really compare machines like these, yeah. I mean, this equipment is in a very specialized category. But if you look at the others, of course, the difference is obvious. There are just so many analog machines, really, a huge number. It's just, well, it's almost an overwhelming dominance, really. Well, apparently this is all DTF. This impressive display comes to us from Nicholas, who is now skillfully bringing his entire performance to a masterful conclusion. We can see the focus and dedication required as he carefully finishes the final steps of this sequence with great precision. I'm going to give this a score of 3. Even here, it is simply the original source material. And right over here, we have the Polkin machines. All right, that's it. Now, of course, we'll go all the way to the end to plan. The company, again, suppliers of paper, materials, films. And finally, the last one, Cinejet. Ah, okay. We know Cinejet from the market for cutting plotters. But you see, it's not just about classic cutting plotters alone. Of course, we can send a big hello to Isterenko Misha, who is the representative of this company. So here we have, for example, a cutting plotter with a conveyor table like this one. Right now, I found the only table of this type that I've actually seen at the exhibition. Because for this exhibition, it's a bit, let's just say, it looks a bit more unconventional, right? But here they are supplying them as well. This equipment seems to be having some success, apparently. Well, right now, there aren't any people here for one reason. Right now, a lot of people are starting out in pavilions E1 and E2. And in about half an hour, people will make their way to the third one. Well, that's all for now. A1 is finished. The next pavilion, which is the last one, is E4. So honestly, I've never filmed here before, but take a look. Here's the layout of the pavilions. There are 4 of them. And so the 4th one is the last in order, but I'll tell you this, it's actually the most interesting when it comes to technology, because here you'll find the largest number of digital printing solutions. And in general, there are a lot of machines here. As for materials, well, I wanted to say there aren't many, but actually the very first booth we see is a material supplier's booth. Here the guys are showing something. Well, apparently it's a digital printing machine. Yes, we can see it. It's digital. There are precise print heads installed. LQ, Shanghai UPG Digital Technology, UPG. As always, there are print samples on display. Here, it looks like we have a die cutting machine. A laser beam is depicted here in this context. So you load it, align the webs. There's a sensor installed. It checks at what speed the web is moving, and then the cutting takes place. So it does thermal application of variable data. Well, for those who need an honest mark, you can apply the substrate using either a thermal print head or a piezo head. So it turns out there can be two types of print heads. Here you go. So you get solutions for cardboard, for bags. You can print on them, you can print food, or just eat it. No one worries that if you take something, food might fall somewhere and it'll be fine. Well, it's fine. They'll pick it up quickly. There are a lot of people, so why not? So laser die cutting, variable data, printing, specifically black and white, like the Chesney-Znak system, different numbers and so on. Here is a small machine for digital printing. As I understand it, it's for full color printing, and that's exactly what he's looking at here. Actually, it is probably even quite difficult to say exactly what specific kind of printing this complex machine is intended for. Maybe I am slightly mistaken about that. There are also some other various machines located here as well. Anyway, the main point is that it is all about the world of printing. It is really just like a busy little mini factory operating right here. So here we print, here we apply foil, here there's no lamination, then cutting. Everything is done step by step and everything is precise. And there's another printer, printer 2, which uses water-based inks while the other one is UV. Now it all makes sense. Well, when things are labeled and not in Chinese, at least written in English, it's interesting to see what this thing actually is. And here, the guys from SkyCat are offering automatic cutters for labels. So they work with both sheet and roll materials. There's also a plotter, apparently equipped with a weeder and a blade. Here's the machine. It works with sheet materials. So you feed it in from below and off it goes. No, probably from the back, for sheets. There's cutting here as well. The guys haven't woken up yet. The exhibition literally started 5 minutes ago. They're not ready yet. Here we have some, naturally, printing machines, analog ones. These guys here as well. They're offering a large amount of equipment. It's hard to tell what's here. A Tarpol, that's the company. Sakura, Seal King, also materials. Well, I just wanted to tell you that this is the hall where we mainly have equipment, like on most of the stands. As we walk, probably every first one. This one's with materials, but we'll get to them anyway, especially to show you these stands. Our dedicated team of experts is right here on the floor today, offering a wide variety of innovative solutions. And right over here, we are showcasing the latest Konica Minolta technology specifically designed for high-quality sheet printing applications. As they say, also. So when it comes to the various vendors and suppliers of used equipment, meaning machinery that has already been installed, I have compiled a comprehensive list of all their names for you right here. Some of the prices are even clearly posted on the wall, and there are quite a few other guys here as well. Here we have some specialized ink from a professional manufacturer with us today. Again, we see various materials, even more materials, and now they are already displayed with finished samples, so that we can already make these ketchup packs, either with applicators or by hand, also using analog machines. Yes, this is our die cutting machine, a machine purely for die cutting. This die cutter is no longer analog, but digital. Here we set everything up with the little head. That's it. Snip, 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 snip. It gets cut out. Some kind of printing machine. It's actually standing here. The company is called Reborn. Here you go, the first printing module for finishing. This is for full color printing. 100 units have already been installed worldwide. Okay. The only thing is, I can't quite understand something. Wait, does it have 2 finishing units or something? Because I don't actually see the printing itself. Ah, yes, 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 yes. This is for finishing for the machine. Okay, let's go around from that side and take another look. Well, basically, for example, two effects. Here, for instance, foil was applied, and on the other side, just varnish. And that's it. And with that, everything is ready in this regard. Dragon Foil Limited, materials. Materials again. Here we have a little machine, but it's for other tasks, of course. Ah, winding, it turns out. You take it, unwind it along the grooves, wind it up, and it's done. Oh, a super printer? UB-ish. Ah, two pieces. Minglam technology. Signa material. They have some interesting little machines. Here is also an analog machine. Here the seal is already working. Here they applied it. Here, naturally, they let it out through the streams and sold it. Machinery scenario. Well, all this is, of course, a laminator. Oh, and here, of course, yes. It's everything for me. All my favorite photos, no photography allowed. But since I'm shooting video, well, what complaints could Kamni have about me? I think none at all. There is such an extraordinarily wide and impressive variety of different, here again, materials, along with such an incredible diversity of various specialized plotters and precision cutters for sheet cutting, and also, as it turns out, for versatile raw materials as well. So, well, it might not be operating at a very high speed right now, but here you go. This is the comprehensive setup. More suppliers, and it seems like these are for some consumables and spare parts. Yes, by the way, this also means you end up finishing much earlier when watching. So, as was originally decided back there, that is exactly how it turned out after all on Aussport. Or you can look closely and see that between the empty spaces, you can clearly tell there was still plenty of room to fit even more in there. But several dozen companies could easily fit in here in this regard. Here you go. Some machines, yes, cutting machines and so on. Here it looks like part of the booth has also been removed. You can see that either someone backed out or there was just empty space. Global Connect Hub. Apparently, this is a place where LabelExpo offers to hold negotiations. Well, it's probably not for demonstrations or anything else. We're not particularly interested in that. We're more interested in checking out the booths. So these guys here are making... So this is a terminal. These are applicators. Again, the same thing here, applicators. You see there's this, I don't know, G-metal technology. I see the Italian logo, GDUI2, or, well, GDUI, yes. So it turns out, thank God, it still exists. I just can't understand what they're doing in China, considering, of course, that there's no one else here in this regard. So right here, quite interestingly, it seems they haven't abandoned these old machines either. They are all still sitting here. These are exactly the kinds of little gadgets and devices you get. The printer is here as well, but everything you see in this room is completely analog. It's the same thing over here, also entirely analog. So, what we have is a traditional analog machine equipped with such a massive and complex refill system. Clearly, it seems like they're already starting to dismantle the machines. Although, in fact, it's actually the last day of the exhibition. It's only morning, it just opened. But apparently, the engineers don't want to spend any extra hours or days here. They're already quickly taking apart the machine. GMD, judging by the logo. So this is the booth of the company Daruvi. Just so you know, yes, right now this company is being represented by us, the exclusive company Smart. We'll come back again for something else. Let's shoot a little video of the new products that are here, the ones they brought, because right now it's really hard to say off the top of my head since, look, there's an information sheet next to the machine and it's entirely in Chinese, so it's not even clear what it is. Here it turns out too. Oh, here there are already 5 stations for setup. Oh my goodness. Well, probably the speed. Aha, so it's a global premiere. From 1 to 5 stations, from 6 to 9 blades. I'm actually curious how much it cranks out. What its peak speed is. But in fact, it's not small. Because here's one station. You see the difference. One station, and here there are 5 stations. It really does look impressive. Here, by the way, GDUH is here as well. And RepGuard is on this side again. And here's vengeful. HCH. By the way, in Russia, this company is represented by Terra. Earlier, I already came here with Alexander and we filmed a short review of this booth. I think I'll probably post it a bit later on, but again, all of the detailed information will be available there too, so everything will be perfectly clear for you. We are looking at the landscaping and the overall layout. We have already passed by this area before. This is the dedicated graphics section, which features these interesting movable modules. We've already filmed a review. Everything is detailed there. Alexander explained everything thoroughly. Basically, this device looks exactly like a specialized industrial inspection machine. I'm afraid to say the name just so I don't get it wrong. Materials, and of course these guys as well. Let's be honest as we go through. So we know the Grando company very well, and I also did a short review about them. It turns out they actually make, well, printers of this kind, step chromatic Uzperlon for them. They also own brands like, for example, Grando, Kyundo, or Kendo as it's called in Korean. This is UV DTF, which means applying foil directly after printing. So they decided not to just dip a toe into this market, but to jump in with both feet and immediately made this kind of single pass machine for printing. 330, if I'm not mistaken, millimeters wide. And it really delivers an incredibly high volume of prints at a remarkably fast pace. By utilizing high-precision Epson printheads and naturally, you will find that the overall print quality is exceptionally sharp and vibrant. Why did they start with Epson? Probably because the printheads are inexpensive. Well, I don't know about everything else, but that's one reason. Why not, as they say, give it a shot. The UV DTF is really impressive in terms of competence. Yes, thank you. Here in our MDTF, you can just apply it to a cassette or apply it to a bottle, just like that. Beautiful. Yes. Direct application. Well, it's probably a bit expensive anyway if we're talking about mass production, but if you just want to make a small batch of merch, then why not? Hers, it turns out, presents a huge number of samples and finished products here, just so you can simply understand their capabilities. Highway, not material technology. So this is probably also a zone for negotiations, as I understand, right from the exhibition. It's also empty here for some reason. Honestly, I hadn't noticed these empty spots before. Now, as I'm walking around, I see that, yes, they are here. Cool, you see, you get advertising from both sides. The stand is raised, and there's a banner at the back. Even though it's not allowed, since there are no neighbors, no one will say anything. Although maybe in China this is allowed, but for example in Russia and in Europe, it's forbidden to have the backside visible if your nearest stand is quite close to you. VCAT company. Good name, I mean, everything is immediately clear. What do? We cut. Probably with a V-shaped knife because it's V-key. Yeah, it turns out it's the same here too. Loaded it, cut it, result. Here it's the same. There are several knives already in the station. I don't know, there were probably about 5 knives, right? That's right. They removed the flesh and then applied the final product. It's the same here. So just one knife. Somehow they took it and applied it. Here things are a bit more serious. If you look at the machine, well, just by its appearance. Actually, there are quite a few machines that work like this. I'm watching. Just look at the edges. You can see everything. It's not bad. It cuts everything up. It's just one station at a time. For some reason, it's like that everywhere, even though some have 5, some have 2. And here, please, it's a mess. Rumors. It's a stop-digit label, right? It like a solution, like from one, from one supplier or naturally from one naturally company. Yeah, Great Wall. No idea what they do. Probably cutting reels with a machine, right? Hard to say. Ah, damn. How do you pronounce it correctly? V-dowel? Probably V-dowel. Hard to say for sure. So, well, apparently these are nothing more than basic traditional analog style machines, maybe even naturally flex. Extraordinarily high performance power. Yeah. UV LED, so that's drying basically. So what do we have here? Okay, yeah, now it's all clear. So here it goes this way. Alignment, web, printing. Well, you get the idea. I don't see any digital solutions here, of course, but still, it's interesting anyway. It looks really nice. It's all quite unusual. The machines and everything else. Of course, everyone is proud of what they can do. They sell all this not only in China, but also in other countries around the world. That's why naturally there are always signs displayed. This is IUV, that's all clear. The curing system that's used on these machines. Well, honestly, it looks really nice. The machine is quite impressive. Right across from them are absolute digital machines. Zycon, Hycon, there are a lot of names, everyone calls them differently. But the point is the same. It's a Belgian manufacturer that's been around for 100 years, making machines for digital printing with dry toner. The only thing is, this year, at this exhibition, they honestly didn't do something. They released this new printing machine, the Eco line, which in Southeast Asian countries, let's say, they will be selling by subscription. As I understand it, you don't pay for the machine itself, but instead you pay a certain amount each month to use it. So it's not even a click contract, it's just a subscription, and that's it. Well, I don't know, maybe it really is very difficult to do right now, to be honest. It's hard to do it any other way, considering the market is oversaturated with digital machines. There's Indigo, there are digital inkjet machines, there are just billions of them, simply put. Well, okay, maybe not billions, but at least more than a dozen at the very least. And so you get printing. I remember back in the day, the print quality at Zaycon was truly amazing. I even clearly remember those old business cards that were printed back then. You would look closely at a single line. And it turned out it wasn't a simple line at all, but actually tiny micro text that repeatedly said Zaycon. The overall quality was truly phenomenal. But times change, and eventually everything changes. And now, when the fourth generation printheads have advanced in so many aspects and parameters, it's already quite hard to impress anyone. The Belgian guys, of course, probably have it tough here because the internal competition is off the charts. But let's say, as I understand it, dry toner has its own niche, simply an interesting one, which they are using. Well, these are also variable data. So here we have the marker in place. They installed it on the bridge, and we enter the data here, immediately read them here, and everything works perfectly. Here's our result. Different QR codes, and everything turns out great. Here are the suppliers of packaging material. I don't know, just take a look. An inkjet machine. Well, yes, judging by the fact that, of course, something is printed there, but maybe they're testing something else. Man, I don't even know if that's a token or if it's printing or not. Well, it's hard to say. All right, let's assume it's printing. Well, judging by the finishing, all the machines are for finishing. Here's another one, too. So, guys, I don't even know how many there are here, but there are probably twice as many finishing machines as there are machines for full-fledged printing, full-color printing. The market is about to be flooded with them, and quite significantly at that. Excuse me. So, what do we have here? Is this some kind of inspection? No marker. The operator does it manually with the SciMark tool. Everything has now been successfully applied, thoroughly scanned, and every single detail has been checked by grade. Well, not quite everything. The specific results we currently have are fully ready for Mark Tool, but once again, a certain company failed to put the marker here, so it is much cleaner and significantly larger in overall size. Now, my dear friends, what we have laid out right here are various sheet materials, and if you look closely here too, there is some very specific marking. I am not 100% sure about this just yet, but that is definitely the strong impression I am getting as we keep looking at everything together. Mark tool again, a marker. Yes, here they have a marker for different solutions. Sheet materials, wide, narrow, very wide. Yes, it's easy to get overwhelmed here for sure. Well, there you go, little by little. We're also noticing how LabelExpo, with a simple flick of the wrist, turns into a loop. And now look at how many loops are waiting for us. Loop America, looping through Mexico, looping across Asia, looping over Europe, and looping through South Asia, specifically regions like South Asia, India, and South China. So it turns out that just like that, their prominent magazines in Label and others, wow, they have really successfully advanced into this truly hyper huge and competitive global field. It is quite an impressive expansion. It turns out an exhibition network all over the world, not just in Europe and America, but all over the world. And now it's also taking over the packaging market, which, as they say, was just lying there unused. Well, more precisely, was lying there. I remember there was the IPAX exhibition in the UK, and I even participated there as an exhibitor. Honestly, it was quite interesting in that regard. And take a look at everything else. Here. Here we have machines again, this time for stacking labels. So, of course, we've already been here. The well print. So this is poly intelligence. Sold via partner. BMAX. Sold. Some kind of Ramonchik. Something like this. Like this. Remember it. We'll see it in the news soon. That it was sold. It's called the SR370. Sold through our partner, the company BIMAX. It will soon be printing in Russia. It doesn't specifically say which print shop it is, but that's okay. We'll just wait for the latest news. They'll be out very soon. Right here, we have a high-quality flexer machine, which prints everything for us. Well, it handles all our production needs quite efficiently. For packaging. And here, Polyintelligent has also been sold, but everything is written in Chinese, so it was probably sold here not too long ago. Well, congratulations are in order. Here comes the machine to us. It's quite nice looking, by the way. It's made pretty well. Honestly, if we just talk about it, first of all, the aesthetic impression, everything is really quite good. The guys are really busy with work. Honestly, I noticed that people don't read books at all anymore. Not on the subway, not anywhere. Only on their phones. Everyone is from the new generation. It's really crazy, honestly. It's just crazy. The well-known company ESCO, which now is mostly associated one way or another with buses, but there's something on them, I don't really know what it is. I don't know what it is. People aren't as familiar with ESCO products as one might hope, probably. But their prices are also displayed here. So this is the Arajet company booth. I've already filmed it. We have 2 full reviews to discuss today. So it turns out that Dima Mikhailov gave me a very detailed review, an insightful interview, and a complete story about exactly what this impressive machine can do, what its specific advantages are, and so on. And also, as it turns out, we received a great deal of information from Mr. Penn as well. The director of international sales also talked about their advantages and everything else. 2 machines. Well, let's just say everything has already been explained in great detail, of course, in the video review. And again, naturally, it's not about Grando, which, well, we haven't looked from this side. Here we go. It's printing at full speed here, churning out meters like crazy. Here we have it. Suddenly it starts going here. Well, I call it a real combine machine myself. Yeah, it still lacks foiling, of course, but if it had that, it would probably be amazing. And as for labels, well, you could probably print up to 1,000 pieces without any problem. There you go. In tech. So this company represents us here in Russia. Tamzor? Of course, I had already come to Dima. Naturally, Dima from Tamzor had already told me all about this machine in detail and showed me everything. He opened the covers and showed me everything as it is. Everything looks fantastic. Really, there are no questions at all. They did a great job. So, well, everything is beautiful and very affordable. Of course, I discussed the price with him. Well, there's no need to go far. It's a bit hard to see, of course, but still. Dima Tokmansov, if you need anything, all the contacts are right here. We speak Russian. He is the representative of this company in the CIS and in Russia. Once again, of course, we moved over to visit the impressive exhibition booth, which is officially represented in Russia by the well-known company TerraPrint. These are analog machines, as it turns out. And here we have the SAPA DMS booth, a system for finishing in a very large variety. There are different formats, some wide, some narrow. The guys focus exclusively on this, and it seems they do it quite well. And there are installations in Russia, and again, we can see, here we have Andrei Malachkin. Here we have a special representative, and there he is, even sitting, well, he's probably a client or maybe a partner of theirs, sitting with DMS and talking. So, of course, that's interesting as well. The machines are quite good. The results, the samples, of course, are really eye-catching in this regard. So if we're talking about these high-quality printed samples, I would say, guys, take a very close look and pay attention. They're showing some remarkably impressive and fascinating results right here. And there's a variety, of course, with finishing, really a lot of different options, both this kind and that kind. So now, of course, I'll walk around and show you more. Here again, Daruja. Yeah, we just approached them from the other side this time. I already filmed and showed everything from this side. Now let me show you everything from this side. So what do we have here? What kind of machine do we have here? Lupex. As usual, everything is in Chinese, nothing is clear, but it feels like this is a printing machine. Yeah, it's a printing machine. Kind of like an Epson, it turns out. A single multipass one. Yeah, why not? Beautiful. It's turning out great, guys. There you go. And it's actually quite a big machine. The rolls, I think, are even more than 330 millimeters. That's what it works with. So here you go. Here's a solution. So basically, the company, just like Daru, offers it, and it's presented by Smarty. It turns out they've already been working with Arajet here for quite some time. I don't know if this particular machine will be supplied to Russia, but here it is, available. It looks beautiful, impressive, of course. God grant everyone something like this. But honestly, Arajet doesn't have anything in this format. So after all, this is a multipass machine. It shouldn't be very expensive, and possibly the quality on any material will be very high. Well, what, why, and how? This is actually a separate, huge topic for a whole discussion, really, about what this saga is all about. We don't have a representative of this company in Russia because it's represented by the company Technoprint. I don't see any of the new products here at the booth, while Andre is always over there. He keeps showing videos about what new things they have and everything else. Take a look here, for example, at this specific sheet material. You could use one print head, two print heads, or even as many as 10 print heads at once. It certainly seems like they have various other sheet materials available, but generally speaking, it feels like these guys are missing something important, so there is no real relationship established yet. Because the team is currently so preoccupied with the peak busy season back in Russia, it looks as though they simply decided to skip this particular exhibition this year. So we see lamination happening, then here we have cutting, probably with knives over there, and on that side they're assembling starting from the front. Yes, over there, of course, a normal amount, so to speak. They made the notches, removed the flash, and here is the finished roll with packaging. Really quite decent, nice little machines actually. A similar system, maybe there's something else here, or is this a laser one, no? No. Maybe it's for inspection to check how the result turned out. Not bad at all. So it cuts it for us once, right? And at the output, we get ready-made sheets with stickers. You just take them and stick them on by hand, of course. Oops, everything fell down? Wow, the guys have so many machines. All kinds, really. This kind and that kind with one head, with many heads. Here there are actually two combines, real ones. It feels like they have cutting and everything else here. Here, it turns out, they really did a truly exceptional and impressive job, and all the machines look remarkably and incredibly visually appealing. Yes, just to remind you again, the company Technoprinter sells them in Russia, and at the moment they even seem to be the exclusive representative of the company. So there are some guys selling them, I don't know, they're almost like pine trees. Here they're showing that they take their print, put it in a quarter of water, and demonstrate that, as you can see, it's not afraid of water. Here, we don't have tasty honey, but accounting honey, it is definitely not supposed to be kept inside there, and honestly, that is quite enough for now. They really don't just take it and spin it around like you might expect. You simply don't know for sure because they show it like this and then they show it like that, almost as if it completely dissolves into nothing or something very similar to that effect. That's interesting. Well, they show all sorts of things good for them, but what can you do? Ecology is ecology. Now, this topic is developing not only, let's say, in Europe, but in the whole interesting world, including China. Everyone should care about this one way or another. Here, the ink, apparently, is again on the label film. Actually, we've already gone through almost the entire exhibition. All the key, most interesting booths. We've covered them. There's only a small part left, as they say. Just the leftovers now, right? Again, materials, more materials. Here, it's not even clear if anyone was here at all. cpp14.com, print China 2027. Yeah, looking ahead to 2027, print China, right? All clear. They have certainly advertised the exhibition quite a lot, but honestly, it really feels like absolutely no one is there. And really, when you think about it, what is the point of wasting all that valuable time until it just seems so empty? So that's how it really is. This specific section features the Hewlett-Packard Company booth, where the team from Cinematch has successfully installed its advanced Digiland laminator model. This particular machine, by the way, has been actively sold and supported throughout Russia for the past 10 years by their partner TerraPrint. And if we take a moment to talk about them in more detail, it turns out that they are actually the original manufacturers of this equipment. Specifically, it's this small, compact engine designed for digital companies, where naturally, small size is important. But the most interesting thing is that it laminates not at digital speed, but at 300 meters per minute. That is, damn, this is fucking awesome. This is a huge speed, actually. Here, it turns out, software companies are probably represented, which in one way or another help and complement the products. Indigo. There is a fix somewhere, but here something is clearly naturally not included yet, what should be in this regard. Naturally, it also turns out to be ABG and so on. Thermal transfer, applicators. Apparently we have some kind of cut or something else. Here's the final product. The banner is terribly striped and printed very unclearly. Maybe you can't see it in the video. It's almost never visible on video, but in real life, it's really a disaster in this regard. How could they approach it like this? Well, whatever. They're all standing. And another forgivable one. Or is there some kind of inspection here? They're all standing with us. Oh no, this is already a printer. Apparently it's a printer for printing. Maybe cardboard or something like that. There you go. So what else do we have here? Here's a rewinder. Ah, well, that's what it is. An indigo machine. Sorry. There you go. Indigo 6K. Well, obviously the guys are already packing up. They're already, of course, taking apart the whole machine. Here it is, right here. This is what it looks like. This is a 20K machine, 20,000. That's what it is. 20,000, sorry, not 200K. 200K. No one wants to do anything anymore either. Everyone is already packing up. What I liked, even from the very start of the exhibition, maybe you can't see it, but if you look closely, it's all covered in film. So it doesn't get dirty, it's carbon neutral. We're making it from carbon neutral material. This is what it looks like. So it's a machine, or a massive machine. You load a roll, print a roll, and it's done. And that's it, it's ready. Yes, of course. It looks so cool and solid, of course, in that regard. So this is the main area where they usually hold their formal sessions. Typically, there is a pitch Fein League hosted here. They show various things, and this is where we apply our skills, make new things, and there are plenty of chairs arranged for people to sit down, watch the presentations, and listen carefully. Over there, if I am not mistaken about the layout, there is some kind of specialized electronic device as well, which, let us say, is specifically used to refine and polish the final product that is made on the premises, on the machine. Well, or let's say not everything is a dream anymore. They make the final result as such. Everywhere they have all sorts of videos and so on. Well, it's that kind of stand. I wouldn't say there's anything bad about it, but here we have an intermediate stage. They took it, applied it. Here's a roll like this. Printed. Loaded it up and off it goes. Everything looks very massive. The machine is huge, of course, both in size and everything else. So when it comes to assembly, it's hard to call it compact. But for these tasks, there probably aren't any other solutions in this regard. So here you go. I suggest I promote the 200, 200,000, 6,000 plus one machine, another machine. Well, that's that. They're not available to us right now. We can just nostalgically look at the Fox, approach it, and that's it. Well, and as for the Landograph, as usual, nothing too unusual, interesting print samples, all sorts of varieties. Here, as they say, is a side view of the machine. Everyone is already gathering. Speaking of Indigo, that's it. For them, the exhibition is like the golden microphones. Actually, if you pay attention, you can see on the floor, of course, this kind of thing, scattered wrappers. Basically, when they sell a machine, they set off an explosion and all of this naturally flies everywhere. That's why. There were only 2 explosions here in my presence, although I was not the lucky one. That is, sales were non-stop. This is one of the largest markets, perhaps for them by country, if you take it into account. But I may be wrong. Infi, Nitek. The essence of it all is something analog. I don't know exactly what. On the left side here, by the way, we have samples. Samples. Highly sophisticated and refined company branding labels, which of course are clearly visible and present throughout the entire design. There you get an understanding naturally, just like in Andre's demonstrations, how we do it. This is from clients. These aren't the latest exhibitions, but the work is still in full swing, as they say. Here's the machine. Naturally, it's wide as such. Not natural, but wide. The guys working here are currently doing something very specific with S-diode RFID technology. Here you can see the machines. This is chili automation, high-level automation. So let's look at the analog things. They carefully put everything into a large roll. It gets printed, the waste material is removed, and then it is finally die cut for the finished product. And not only that, of course, they also flipped it over. And all of this, quite naturally, is something that we will cut as well. And now, of course, we already have a certain quantity. Your product's ready. One goes here, one goes there. One is wound up and the other here comes out as these products, cards. Done. Here's more, naturally, RFID. Yes. Well, he's showing what's inside. See, the RFID marker. And maybe information will be encoded. We don't have to bring the peak of the product to the test. We can just read it with an RFID tag, and that's it. And it's done. Here we have the back of the Arager stand. Here she is with RFID legal production provider. Well, as always, there are probably quite a few here. Life is still in full swing here, actually. All these are clients of Arager stands. Matville, provided by John Hua Material Media, whatever, etc. So what we have here are these old machines, i.e. these machines are all completely analog. Okay, they say something is wrong. And for some strange reason, you just can't film anything at all in here. Well, okay, we won't film it. We'll just show that they're coming here for this. All. So what we have here, well, everything is shown there. Well, feels like a homey atmosphere, fishing chairs and all. It feels like this is some kind of RFID tag inspection. The testers are exceptionally mobile and incredibly mobile. The guys are making machines again. Well, apparently it's just one after another here. No, one after another. RFID, yeah. Various RFIDs, they install them inside the labels and everything else. Yeah, because the guys just took a container, brought it here, look at this. Honestly, I've never seen anything like this before. They unfolded the container. RFID, yeah. RFID Park, yeah. Chilean technology, yeah. Thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it. So it looks like we had a conference here. Oh, everything is arranged here in such an interesting way. Here are some guys. I haven't even passed that point over there yet, to be honest. Let's go through now and then we'll come back from the other side. Seriously, this is really interesting. They just literally took a container, unpacked it, pulled everything out, and that's it. Man, I don't know. I need to think about this. I am actually seeing this for the very first time. So it appears that this is most likely going to be a printed module for finishing. Yeah, so as you can see, this is actually printed. Right here, we have a specialized curing system equipped with high-intensity LEDs that can cure everything effectively. Moving along, here is the main printer unit where the precision print heads are located. And finally, over here, we have our dedicated quality control station for thorough inspection. And here's the final result. Yeah, there's definitely something here. Something is shining. It feels like it's just varnish for now, just shining. Honestly, we also have some of these little loops here. So yeah, guys, there it is. This is Spark, industry-leading digital label, embellishing machine. So these are the materials again. Got it. So yes, we really were over there in that corner, then turned this way. Here we have, of course, the assembly hall where apparently presentations and various other events were regularly held. Yes, we've been here before. So once again, we'll naturally walk through. All right, back and forth. Let's just walk through and take a look, because there are still a few stands left that we need to see. Yes, it is true that this specific pavilion ended up taking the most time to explore, but damn, it really has the largest number of advanced digital solutions you could possibly imagine. Because if you take a close look at the video footage, honestly, it feels like there are at least twice as many machines and interactive stands offering high-end label embellishment than anywhere else. It is truly an impressive display of modern technology. Label Korea. A Korean exhibition? Labels. Textile sign, pop-up corrugated, and so on. Basically everything together. Punch, pinching, enterprise network. Well, like a packaging network as such, right? It's just not clear what it's for because everything is written in Chinese. Well, probably among Chinese suppliers in this regard. So here's the container from the backside. We can see it right here. Yeah. Well, damn. It's certainly an interesting solution. It looks unusual to say the least, but you just pack everything inside the container, take it, ship it out, and that's it. Damn, how much does this cost? I honestly have no idea. Not cheap, not cheap. Here too, of course, we have variable data printing here. Here it's from sheet material, and here it's from roll material. Yeah, so we took it and, of course, applied the variable data, wide, narrow, and so on. So there are quite a few markers, of course. It turns out the company also supplies materials with RFID chips. Yeah. These guys have already been to Shanghai with the leader printer, specialized oil, and advanced RFID technology. Again, so this is a specific area where they have gathered absolutely everything very densely and efficiently, so you really don't have to go anywhere else at all. You can just take every single thing you need in this one convenient place and then head over to check it out. It is designed to be a complete one-stop shop where all the latest innovations are right at your fingertips, saving you time and making the whole process much smoother than before. Here too, of course, there are markers. Here too, there are markers, variable data, sheet roll. Yes, cars. Shalhak Goji, printing technology. Well, it's kind of too simple a name. Everything is too clear right away. Yes, we had Expo, Club 100. Well, it seems, if you look here, these are clearly measuring instruments. But if we talk about the stand itself, it's not clear at all what they do. It's all just all over the place. A magazine, some kind of, Pi Media, BG Incorporation magazines and everything else. Well, everything is solid. Actually, it's made by Zebra Technology, if I'm not mistaken. It's a printing machine, Western, usually my print Sage. Yes. What is this? Everything is in Chinese. I can't understand anything at all. But it's very interesting. Maybe it's some kind of catalog. Security and preference. Well, it's related to security in terms of business. So I can say that actually, that's all there is to it. E5. In this, as they say, you see, there's nothing here, but if you look far away, you can see E5 over there. Well, E5, this time it wasn't needed. Everyone fit into 4 pavilions from E1 to E4. And basically, this is the last pavilion I went through. Now you've seen the whole exhibition in detail. I think it's interesting. No matter how you look at it, there's a lot of useful information. Now it's as if you've been here yourself, even though maybe you couldn't make it to the exhibition, but still.